Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Primetime Alive program. Before we start, I want to remind those of you who are joining us online, we will answer questions at the end of the program. You will just need to go and open up the Q&A chat bubble, and when you click on that, you'll get along the right-hand side that you can type in a question and hit enter. And then we'll have that saved there and we'll answer that at the end of the program. Those of you here in person, I'll go around with a microphone so we can do questions at that time. So now on to our program. Welcome to our Primetime Alive program, Living with Vision Loss. I'm Vicki Newell. I manage the Primetime Alive program here at Mary Greeley. If you want more information about Primetime Alive or to sign up for a program, you can check us out at mgmc.org/PTA. Our presenter today is Connie Mendenhall. Connie became the Chief Information Officer for the Iowa Department for the Blind September of last year. Prior to this position, she served as an independent living teacher for the Iowa Department for the Blind. Connie graduated from the Iowa Department for the Blind Blindness, Empowerment, and Independence Center in January of 2020. Prior to working for the Iowa Department for the Blind, she worked in the insurance industry for 23 years, with the last 13 years in compliance. She has 3 children and 3 grandchildren, and she lives in Des Moines. Please welcome Connie.
Thank you. Thank you. How is everybody? It's a beautiful day. I'm glad to see all of you here and not still just outside enjoying the fresh air. As Vicki said, prior to the position I have now, I was an independent living teacher for the Iowa Department for the Blind. What that means is anyone who is eligible for our services can sign up with the independent living program, and an instructor will come to your home to work with you on the skills that you need to adapt to your vision loss, but remain independent and stay in your own home. Because our goal is to keep people in their homes and not in a nursing home. I am 57. I don't mind telling my age at all. The gray hair pretty much shows it. When this happened to me about 9 years ago, my 3 daughters' first response was, "You can't live by yourself." I was not even 50 years old. So it was very shocking to hear that my children, you raised them. And then you hear them look at you and go, well, you can't live by yourself now. So, you got to prove them wrong. And I did.
Connie,
yes.
I'm just going to move the microphone a little bit because we can't hear you great.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
All of our services for the Iowa Department for the Blind are free, including our library service. We just have you do a referral, and then we need an eye report, and at that time, eligibility is determined. Then, once the eligibility is determined for perhaps the independent living services or vocational rehabilitation services, then you're set up with the teacher, and you move into that program and start working with them. For some people, they choose to just become a library patron. Being a library patron, you can receive audiobooks and large print books. And I will go over the application process for that here in just a minute. First of all, I'm going to show you just 2 or 3 really small little tools that we start people off with in independent living that are tools that you use pretty much in all parts of your day, and they're so simple that when you learn them, you just kind of look and go, well, I can't believe I didn't think of that myself. These first 2 things are called bump dots. And all they are is a little sticky orange raised dot. And it's tactile, so you can feel it. Every appliance now has a flat surface. So these little orange dots make it so that I can use my stove, I can use my microwave, I can use my washer and dryer by myself. Nobody has to come over and do anything for me. Nobody has to come over and cook my meals. Because by putting these on just your main dials, start, stop, for the oven, preheat, bake, start, stop, and you're up and down for your temperature. For the microwave, start, stop, cancel, and like the number 5. Because you can pretty much navigate through everything else just by using these. I can do my own laundry. I cook my own meals. I use these on my key ring. I have one on my house key. So when I get home, I know the key that has this little dot is the key that I use to get in my door instead of standing there and putting every key on the key ring in the door. Because me being me, I'm going to get impatient. I'm going to break the key off. And nobody wants that. And then another set of tools that we use are these little plastic things. These are called writing guides. This little one right here is a signature guide. When you go to the doctor, you go to the pharmacist, you go to the bank, everywhere you go, you have to sign your name now. So for me, I will kind of run my finger up and down, where do I need to sign? People are notorious for grabbing a hold of my hand and dragging it where it needs to go. By having this, I don't have a stranger grabbing a hold of my finger and dragging me all over their desk. I can hand this to the person, say, can you please set this down where I need to sign? It sets on the piece of paper, and right here is your signature line. So when you go to the doctor and you have to sign your forms, you find this groove, and you sign the form yourself. You don't have to ask somebody for help just to sign your name. We have another one that you can use to fill out an envelope. So when you go to send your check to pay your bills or whatever it is you need to send it, you can still fill out the envelope yourself. It has a place for the return address and for where you're sending it. Sorry about that. This goes over a normal size sheet of paper, and you find your lines, and you could write a letter to somebody because it keeps everything in a nice straight line. If you have someone do your shopping for you, you can write out your grocery list and give that to whoever you're shopping with, and they can help you find what you need to find in the grocery store. But you're still writing out your own list. As the week goes along, you put a paper clip on here and you move it down. So every time you need to add something, you know which line you're on. You don't have to have somebody do it for you, or you don't have to try to remember everything you need, or chase down 15 pieces of paper because every time you needed to write something down, you wrote it on something different. And then we have this last one. This is a check writing guide. It has all of the different spaces, signature, the amount, who you're paying it to, and your date. It fits right inside your checkbook on top of a check. So you can write your own checks out to pay your own bills. You don't have to wait for somebody else to come over to do it for you. Those two different topics, those two different things right there, the bump dots and the set of writing guides, if you think about it for half a minute, how many times when you can't see something, if you had something that simple, that tactile that you could just walk up and touch, how much easier it would make someone's life who's losing their vision. And a big part of your quality of life as you lose your vision is maintaining your independence. It's very hard to ask for help for anyone. So the more things a person who is going through vision loss and dealing with all of the different things and thoughts and processes that go with it, the more steps that they can do or take to maintain their independence, the better their quality of life will be. So something as simple as this. An independent living teacher can come as many times as 3 or as few times as 3, or they can work with a person for up to 24 months. And at that time, if the person still needs some assistance, they can do an evaluation and possibly keep them on the caseload for another year. And like I said, everything, all of our services are 100% free. There's no charge. We do have a gifts and bequests fund that helps people pay for things like a talking blood pressure cuff. If your doctor prescribes that you need to have one of these at home, and your vision loss is to the point where you cannot take your own blood pressure and read the dial, we can work with the Gifts and Bequests Fund through the department and try and get a talking blood pressure cuff. They have a talking glucose monitor for someone, you know, when you poke your finger and you check your sugar level, your insulin level. When you put the strip in there, instead of trying to figure out, find the magnifier, how am I going to read this? How am I going to figure this out? It talks to you and tell you what your numbers are. There are talking scales. A lot of people who are diabetic are told to maintain their weight. So they have talking scales. They also have talking thermostats to help you adjust the temperature and stay comfortable in your home. One of the other things that a lot of our clients, the first thing they'll say, I was an avid reader. We have our library that you can sign up for. When you sign up for our library services, for our audiobooks, you receive one of these. This is our digital book player. In the mail, you'll receive one of these, or two of these. Inside of this little plastic cover here is this magic little cartridge. This cartridge has 20 books on it. The library services are 100% free. You work with them, you tell them what type of books you like. They load the books on the cartridge, put them in the mail to you. You get it, you listen to the books. When you've read your cartridge, drop it in the mail, send it back. They put 20 new ones on and send it back to you. Because you're working with the Iowa Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, all of the mailing back and forth of the player, the cartridges, if the player has to be replaced or if you need headphones for it, all of that is postage free because it's classified as free material for the blind. So you can get as many audiobooks as you want per month for free, no postage paid, and you don't have to leave to go to the library and hope that they're in and that they're not on a waiting list. We work with the Library of Congress and the National Library Service. So if it is out there, we can get it on audio. If we can't find it, if you can find a hard copy book and send it to us, we will have somebody read the book and make the audio, and we'll put it on a cartridge for you and send it to you. And then that book is now in our library for everybody else to enjoy. The book player itself is extremely simple. Has a power button.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function.
Has a cord to charge it. It has a 29-hour charge. So you plug it in at night or during the day when you're not reading. The rest of the time you unplug it, take it everywhere you go with you. Each of the buttons.
Rewind. Press this rewind button once to move backward 5 seconds in the book. Press and hold this rewind button to move.
As long as you don't have a cartridge in and you push the buttons, each one of these buttons will tell you what they do. Let's see.
Sleep. Pressing the sleep button once will play 15 minutes of the book and then stop the machine. Pressing the sleep.
You can adjust the volume. You can adjust the speed of the voice, and you can adjust the tone of the voice. So with your speed, let's see.
20 books.
The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss.
I love Dr. Seuss, so I always have this in here.
1957 by Theodore S. Geisel and Audrey S. Geisel. Copyright renewed 1985 by Theodore S. Geisel. All rights reserved.
This book was originally created for audio cassette playback. Any announcements concerning cassettes do not apply. This version contains a marker allowing direct access to the beginning of the book.
The sun did
So
not
for somebody who may be having some processing issues, you can slow the speed of the book down to where they can actually process it, understand it, and continue to read. We have magazines on cartridges. So if you read TV Guide, National Geographic, People Magazine, Sports Illustrated, Time, pretty much any magazine, you can get those on a cartridge as well, and they'll be mailed to you. And then this is one of my very favorite ones, and this is free to anyone that needs it. It's a prescription bottle. Sure, everybody has at least one of these at home. On the bottom of this bottle is this round label. This label works just like a barcode at a grocery store. I have an app on my phone that reads the label. If you don't want to put the app on your phone, they will send you a reader. The reader is the size of a small saucer. So what you do, you take your label.
Patient name, John J. Smith. Medication, amoxicillin 250 milligrams capsule. Instructions, take 1 capsule 3 times daily. Quantity, 30 capsules. Fill date, June 10th, 2021.
It will read the whole entire label to you, or it has a quick scan, which will just say the patient name, the medication, and the dose. So if you're filling your weekly medicine box, you just get your reader out, all your bottles, scan them as you use them, and you fill your box, and then you put them aside so you know for sure that the medication that you're putting in each of those slots or that you're taking throughout the day, you know 100% for certain that you're taking the right thing. Because you cannot go off of this is my blood pressure pill. It's this capsule, and it's always pink and white. Well, you go to the pharmacy and they've changed manufacturers. You get a capsule, but you have no clue what color it is. Or this medication has always been a small round pill. They changed manufacturer, and now the pill is square. So this is truly a life-saving tool for anybody who is having trouble reading print the size of what's on a medicine bottle. Walmart works with Script. It's called Script Talk. Walmart works with them. Hy-Vee works with them. CVS has their own program that is very similar to this. At this time, the only pharmacies that don't, and mail order pharmacies work with them as well, the only ones that don't work with them are Walgreens and some of your smaller locally owned pharmacies. In the packet that I gave you, there is a flyer with Script Talk's information so that if you would like to reach out to them and talk to them and see about getting a reader, then they will also help you get enrolled with your pharmacy, and they'll help walk you through the steps to get things up and running with the pharmacist. You know, okay, my refills came in. The first few months, the pharmacy, you need to check with them ahead of time. Are my Script Talk labels on the bottles before you pick up your medicine? But eventually it becomes a pretty good flow. I work with Hy-Vee. They do a wonderful job with mine. That is another program. That is not a program through the Iowa Department for the Blind, but that is another program that is absolutely free. The only thing they ask is when you get to a point where you no longer need the reader, is that you return it to them so that it can be cleaned and checked to make sure that everything works okay, and it can be sent to the next person who needs it. To do this, you do not have to go through your doctor. You don't have to ask them first. You simply call Script Talk, and like I said, it's in the packet. You simply call them and talk to them, and it is between them and your pharmacy. So they do the paperwork. They even do the paperwork. They enroll you with your pharmacy. They mail you the reader, everything. And they will work with you when the equipment gets there. They'll work with you over the phone to walk you through how to use it. Okay, I'm gonna run through what we have in our packet because there's a whole lot of stuff in there. The very first page covers our basic programs and services. It's just kind of a very topical overview of what we do at the Iowa Department for the Blind. There's a contact phone number on there that is our general phone number, where you can reach out to us if you would like to see if yourself or maybe somebody you know, maybe it's a relative, a spouse, a child, a brother, sister, sibling, anyone who lives in the state of Iowa that is dealing with vision loss is eligible for our services. We do serve all 99 counties. And we have clients who range, our youngest library patron is 6 months old. They're learning to read Braille as soon as they can find that tactile feel. Our oldest library patron just turned 100. So we work with people from day one to the end of days. The next, I think there's like 6 pages, our library application. So you can read through that. If you would like to fill one out and submit it, feel free. Just pop it out of this, fill it out, drop it in the mail. They will work with you as far as who the certifying agent is. If you're working with someone from the Department for the Blind, your independent living teacher, vocational rehabilitation teacher, they can be your certifying agent. Your doctor can be the certifying agent. Your local librarian that you check large print books out from can be your certifying agent. Or if you live in an assisted living facility or a care center and you're requesting large print books, they can sign off as your certifying agent that you qualify for services. You do not have to request any other services to be a library patron. You can solely be a library patron, and that is your only connection with IDB. Then the next one is the Script Talk flyer for the prescription labels. Has their contact information. I think it briefly kind of gives a description of what Script Talk does. Like I said, you do not have to, just because I have mine on my phone, you don't have to. And you can have both. I do have a reader at home, so I have both options. Our next 2 pages describe the independent living program. Independent living is for anyone in the state of Iowa who is not actively wanting to go back to work or to go to work or to go to college. Typically, the independent living clients are somebody 50, 55 or older who's already worked most of their life and they're not wanting to go back to work. They just want to stay at home. Or we have clients who are in assisted living facilities or in care centers, but they want to be able to navigate and do things on their own. They want to be able to go to walk themselves to the dining room. They don't want to have to wait for someone to come and get them. They don't want somebody to have to sit by their side while they eat their meals. So we're there for anybody that wants us, that is wanting to regain their independence after losing their vision or going through vision loss, but you don't necessarily have returning to work as a goal. The page after that is a low vision support group in the Ames area. And that is free and it's open to anyone who would like to join. Their contact information is on that page. There's a phone number and an email address. They meet, I believe, once a month. And what that is a group of people in the Ames community who are blind or losing their vision or low vision. And it's just kind of a way to reach out to people. It's a really good way to learn different techniques. Everybody that gets a package of these bump dots uses them differently. And I can talk to one of my coworkers and mention bump dots, and they'll say, oh, well, I use them to do this and this and this. Well, I've never thought of that. Or I might use them for something different. This is all these things that we use are nothing more than a set of tools for a toolbox. And you use them and adapt them for whatever your situation is. Are you at home? Are you in a restaurant? Are you at a mall? Are you staying with a family member for a weekend? I lost my train of thought. Did you guys see it like just drive out of my head? The support group. Also, it's a very good place to talk with people that are dealing with the same issues that you're having. Losing your vision is not easy. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm working. The only thing I can't do is drive. I'm every bit as independent as I was prior to losing my vision. And actually, I'm more independent now than I was. I have absolutely years ago, I'd have never went to a restaurant and had dinner by myself. I don't think twice about it now. So it's possible to get there. It's possible to maintain the same quality of life you had before, but there's some steps you have to go through, and there's some moments where you're pretty angry. You're actually livid at times. And being involved with a support group of people that are dealing with the same thing that you are, they understand those days where you just want to throw the white flag in and say, I'm done. I've stubbed my toe on the couch 6 times. That couch has not moved in 10 years. I've had it. I'm not doing this anymore. So the people in these support groups they're dealing with the same thing. And also their family members are going through the same thing that a person going through vision loss. They're dealing with the same issues that person's family members are dealing with too, because your family needs support as well. It's pretty much as hard on your family as it is you. It's just different sides of the coin. So then our next page is our vocational rehabilitation program. That is the same kind of training, the non-visual training for maintaining your independence and building your skills, except the end goal of that is that you will return to work or go to college. Sometimes people go through it just because they want to volunteer. So they go through vocational rehabilitation so that they can get their skills up to be able to volunteer somewhere. There's certain things, even as a volunteer, there's certain requirements that they want you to have. And vocational rehabilitation can help you with that. They can help you get you to that point. Our next one is a volunteer page. And also, when you picked up your packets, there was a loose page that has to do with volunteer opportunities at the Iowa Department for the Blind. We have several opportunities for people to volunteer. These book players right here,
It was too wet to play.
Player off.
when they get returned, they need to be cleaned and tested to make sure that they still charge. Is the cord still good? Are the buttons all good? So we have volunteers that come in and do those and get these machines ready to go back out to the next library patron. These little magic cartridges here that are my books now. We have, I don't know how many mail tubs. I don't know if you've ever seen a tub at a post office, but it's a huge cart. We have, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 5 or 6 carts full of these. We need volunteers to come in and remove this label and clean them, wipe them down so that we can reuse these to send these out to new library patrons. We have some maintenance projects that we are looking for volunteer help with. We have some inventory projects for our youth programs that we have one youth program that runs during the school year. So we have some volunteer projects for when those students move in and out at the beginning and end of the school year. We have a LEAP program for students who come in to Des Moines in the summers to work on their non-visual skills. So we have volunteer needs for their move in and move out. Let's see what else. We have some needs as far as not maintaining, but inventorying our home management kitchens. We have 6 home management kitchens in the building that our students use. And once a year, we bring in twice a year, we bring in volunteers to do nothing but totally empty the cupboards, inventory everything, sort it all out, and see just exactly how many dinner plates do we have. That right now off the top of my head is pretty much what I can think of. I know all of the different program directors are working on different lists for their volunteer needs. April 21st, we are having a volunteer open house. We have 2 in-persons at the department in Des Moines. One is at 10, one is at 1:30. We have a virtual one at 12:30. There is a link on the form so that you can sign up to attend one of the open houses if you would like. I believe there's also a contact number on there to get you signed up. The last thing in your packet is a card. We are always looking for drivers to drive staff members. When I was an independent living teacher, like I said, I traveled to people's homes. My territory, I live in Des Moines, my territory started in Jasper County, which is Newton, and I went clear to Clinton. So I went all the way across the state on 80. I had a driver because obviously, they'll let me work there, but they're not going to let me drive one of those state cars. Don't know why. So my driver, him and I had an agreement, and he went through the certification, which is basically they check your driving record, they do a background check, and then once his background was checked, he drove the state vehicle that was assigned to me, for me, 3 days a week when I traveled for work. I paid him in cash, I completed my receipt, and then the state reimbursed me for my driver. We have staff members that need drivers, and that is a contract agreement between the driver and the staff member. That the staff member pays you. You do not get paid by the Department for the Blind. You do not get paid by the state of Iowa. So like I said, it is a contract agreement between the driver and the staff member. They pay $14 per hour, and you drive a state vehicle. Then we also have drivers who drive clients. When our kids come in on weekends for retreats, or when they all come in for the summer for the LEAP program in Des Moines, and once a month when they go back home to see their families, we have drivers who drive our clients. Those drivers are also paid $14 an hour. When a driver uses a state vehicle, or when the driver chooses to use a personal vehicle rather than a state vehicle, they're paid 50 cents per mile on top of that. When you drive for a client, then you have a form that is filled out, that is submitted to our accounting department. It is then submitted to Department of Administration, and you are mailed a check from the state of Iowa to pay you for that time. A driver it's not a commitment. Your name is added to a list if you want it on a list, and somebody will call you. We are in need of a driver for Saturday, April 22nd to run from Des Moines to Ottumwa and back. Are you available? If you want to do the run, yep, I'm available. You get it scheduled and you go. If you don't feel like driving that day, you just say, no, thank you. I'm not available that day. So that page right there on the back, that has the information needed to reach out to us to become a driver for us. And like I said, that is one thing we are always in need of, whether it be just 3 or 4 times a year or working with a staff member who needs a driver 3 days a week. And I think that is pretty much everything I have. Do any of you have any questions for me? And you can ask me anything about any of this you want. Nothing is out of bounds.
And I have the microphone, so just raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll come around and we'll get it so everybody online can hear the question as well. 1 second, I have somebody on the other side of the room here.
You get your steps in at this, don't you?
I am.
Does your department have any connections with people who want to have have a dog? You know,
We do not have a connection. However, most places, if you're going to have a seeing eye dog placed with you, you do have to go through some training to learn how to use one of these. A long white cane, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with. This is the international symbol for I'm a blind person. Most guide dog places will not assign a guide dog to somebody. And when I say guide dog, I mean a seeing eye dog, not a service dog, not a companion animal. You have to prove to them that you can navigate with a long white cane in order to get a dog. And the reason for that is if you were somewhere, I don't know, if you jumped on the bus and took the bus to Des Moines with your dog, and heaven forbid something happened and you got separated from that dog, if you can't navigate with the long white cane, you literally would be stranded in your tracks. We provide, and it is part of independent living if you so choose to learn to use the long white cane. Vocational rehabilitation, learning to use the cane is part of the training. But in order to get a guide dog, you do have to complete some of the training, and we will provide the cane training for you.
Connie, if I missed it, I apologize, but I know, said there's somebody in our county that can come to your home to do these assessments and make recommendations and help you. Is that they just contact the Iowa Department for the Blind? Okay.
We have our teacher that works in this county. She is, I believe it is Alyssa. She is based out of Des Moines, but she has clients that she comes up to Ames to see. Once you sign up with us for our services, typically you see the independent living teacher once a month, sometimes every 3 weeks. It just depends on how many clients they have at the time. And it depends on the client. Some clients are good only seeing the teacher every 6 weeks. But you just reach out to us at the first page of the packet to that incoming number, and they will direct you to who you need to go to. If you lose this packet, my business card is up there. You can always call me, and I will get you to who you need to get to.
I know we had a couple people asking online because you keep referring to this information packet. For those online, when I sent you, I believe on Monday, your email reminding you about the program, and I gave you the link to sign in today, I also attached the packet and a couple other documents that Connie's referring to. If for some reason you got signed on and you got signed on some other way than using that link, just email me. This is Vicki, and I will send the packet out to you. Other questions?
Anything else? Really?
Gosh, you just must have put together the perfect presentation, Connie.
Typically, somebody always asks, how do you match your clothes?
Oh, good
See?
question.
I use a series of buttons on the tags. Some people use safety pins. Some people use an actual tactile label. I do on occasion have a family member when they're at my house kind of help me resort and regroup my closet back together, because I do have a small amount of residual vision. And I like to tell people it is just enough to get me in trouble, not enough to get me out. It is at the point where I cannot see my own face in a mirror. So yes, I turn my head and I move my eyes just as if I was fully sighted. That is another misconception, is so many people believe that for every person that carries one of these long white canes, the perception is that that person is totally blind, and they're not. In truth, I think it's somewhere between 15 and 18% of all the people that carry a long white cane or that are considered blind are totally blind. They have, and by total, I mean totally blackout blind, no light perception, no residual vision whatsoever. And that is a huge misconception. Blind is your eyes do not work and there's no way to fix them. There's not a pair of glasses in the world that I could put on, not a pair of contacts. There's not a surgery that can be done. So therefore, I am blind, which took me a while to get used to saying it, but I don't have a problem with it now.
Okay, so you talked about matching your clothes in your closet. How about shopping? You have to really have maybe somebody you trust go with you. Your mom. Her mom is over here today.
Yes. My mom, my sister, and actually, even though they threaten me that they're going to dress me horrifically, my children do a pretty good job too.
Your children must love you if they can tease you like that, right?
They do. I don't know. They were going to tell me they were going to let me live at home by myself. What do you think? The hardest thing for me to figure out how to match was socks.
Oh.
It's like today, black pants, black shoes.
Black socks. Yes.
We have these things, excuse me, that are called sock locks. They are about that big around. They have an X in them. When you take the pair of socks off, you put both socks in the sock lock and it keeps them together in the washer and the dryer. So then when I take them out, I can fold them. My black socks are folded one direction. They're folded like just in half flat. Blue socks are rolled up in a ball. Printed socks, if it's black, then it's folded the same as a black sock. If it's a blue print, it's folded just like a blue sock. White socks, have at it. Hopefully I can tell by texture that they match. I no longer get really artsy craftsy and wear like pink and green, and coordinate my socks with my outfits. That's it. They're blue, black, or white. And then I just hope for sandal season where I can just wear my flip-flops. Another question I've been asked is, how do you tell hand lotion from other things in a tube? For instance, toothpaste.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody have an idea? That's a good
Labels.
one. Smell. Very good. Another even easier than a bump dot so that you don't risk throwing the bump dot away because they're sticky. You can reuse them. A rubber band. Rubber band around one of the two. So then you never put toothpaste on your hands for hand lotion or brush your teeth with hand lotion. One of my coworkers had a client that came up with the idea of the rubber bands on the tube because hand lotion and toothpaste is just not something you typically think to tell people how to label. Well, that's how she figured it out, was because she brushed her teeth with hand lotion one morning. That's not a good way to start your day. So even things like that, labeling things, we can work with you with that in independent living. And we will bring you a small set of tools. We'll bring you the bump dots. We'll come up with other different ways. But we work with the clients to develop a method that's going to work for them. Because it's not a one size fits all thing. Some people have neuropathy, so a tactile way of labeling isn't going to work for them. We have people that have mobility issues. So when it comes to labeling, you have to take into account mobility issues. Where do things have to be consistently placed at a certain level? Which then that negates labeling shelves. So we do work with the client individually on what is going to work the best for them. We can teach you how to label everything from your clothing in your wardrobe to your cans of vegetables in the cabinet in your kitchen.
Any other questions? Yes, 1 second. I'm on my way up.
My dad had macular degeneration, and I mean, nowadays, most people use like a credit card for everything, but he had a method so that he could tell if it was a $1, a $5, a $10, or a $20 bill.
Yes. Show you that really quick. So, pretend this is any bill that you have in your wallet. In mine, a $1 bill is folded in half one time. A $5 bill, take it folded, and then it is folded in quarters, but it's folded lengthwise. A $10 bill starts out folded in half. And it's folded down into a square. Then a $20 bill, I leave flat and put it in a different area of my billfold. When I didn't have a way to do that, I would fold it into some sort of a triangle. Triangle 20. Anything above that, and I'm pretty concerned I've got somebody else's billfold. If there's a 1,500 in there, it's probably not my purse. So, and that's another thing that is not standardized. I fold my money different than a handful of other people because one group of people were all taught the same way. I taught myself how to do it when I started losing my eyesight, before I ever was connected with the Department for the Blind, because I had read somewhere that that was a method that you could do. So rather than trying to learn to do it the way everybody else does it, I kept my own way of doing it. Like I said, because these are your own tools. You're given a toolbox with these few little things and ideas, but how you move through life with them and how you adapt and change them based on your environment is 100% up to you.
Any other questions? 1 second. You guys have me going back and forth. I think you planned this.
My brain just got. I was in Florida, and they did a lot at a church with making Braille Bibles to send all over the place. Mm-hmm. And you're talking a lot about verbal things.
Yes.
I'm thinking that for Bibles, maybe that's easier, because I asked her, when you're doing all this, they must be humongous. She goes, yes, they are.
They are.
So can you kind of address that, reading Braille versus this? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. The long rectangular cards that were up there with the packet, those are the Braille alphabet cards. And if you look at the card and run your fingers across it, every letter has a different combination of dots. The initial Braille cell is made up of 6 dots, and they go, okay, so you guys are facing me. So I'm going to try to do this right. Left column, right column. So it would be dot 1, 2, 3, down that left column, 4, 5, 6, down the right column. And if you notice, looking at the alphabet cards, the letters build on themselves. A through J uses dots 1, 2, 4, and 5. They're only that top tier. Letters K through S adds dot 3. So letter K is dot 1 and dot 3. Letter A is dot 1. And it goes from there. B is dot 1, dot 2. L is 1, 2, and 3. Then when you get to the rest of the alphabet, whoops, I missed T. U through Z adds dots 3 and 6. So U is 1, which is A at the beginning of the alphabet. 1, 3, which is K in the middle. 1, 3, 6, which is U at the end. The only exception to that is the letter W, because Braille was created by Louis Braille, who was French, and the French alphabet does not have the letter W in it. So for our alphabet, they had to come up with a symbol for the W. So if you look at the alphabet card, that is the only letter that doesn't follow the pattern. It is the .2 on the left side, and then 4, 5, and 6 down the right. And we do have, our library has, we have the second or third largest Braille library in the world, in Des Moines, Iowa, which is pretty cool. So yes, once you learn to read Braille, we have Braille books, and just like the cartridges or our large print books, you can check them out of the library. They're mailed to you, you mail them back, and it's postage free. We also, for somebody who has not learned Braille yet, for our book cartridges, we have what's called a Sacred Script program. That program has the original King James Version of the Bible. It has the New King James Version. It has a Catholic Bible. It has, it's King James, but it's kind of like a newer language. And I think they've added, somebody said the Quran was in there now. But those come on a cartridge, just like the books and these players, because many people who read the Bible often have their favorite verses that they will go back to time and time again. With this player, you can bookmark those verses. You can also go from verse to verse in the Bible. You can go from chapter to chapter. You can use this machine to break it right down to however you want to navigate that book for the Bible for yourself. And the Sacred Script cartridges, when they come to you, those are yours to keep. Those never have to be returned, so that you can read the Bible whenever you want to. And then you still get your additional cartridges for your books. I have seen the Braille copy of the King James Bible. A Braille book is typically like that. And I think it was 17 volumes. And their thickness is about like this. So we don't do our Braille by hand for things like that. We do have a machine that is called an embosser, that you run it through a printer, and then the embosser pops out the Braille for us.
And when you asked, you said speak to the difference. I'm guessing for each person, it's an individual preference of which they like to do the Braille, or if they like the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm. For some people, it just depends on where they're at. Because audiobooks, now you can have them downloaded to your phone. There is a program that is called Bard, where once you become our library patron, you have the Bard app on a phone, an iPad, a tablet, your computer. And you can download books onto it and then listen on your phone. So, or these players that hold a 29-hour charge, you can have a bag over your shoulder and take it with you with headphones that we provide to listen to your books that way. Because just like a normal print book, there are times where you don't always think to bring the book with you, or it's just not convenient to have a book with you. And when you're traveling with a Braille book, sometimes that's not the most convenient book to take with you. And we also have electronic Braille readers, which has that little 6-dot cell, and it'll have a row of, some have 20, some have 40. The longest is 60 of those 6-dot cells in a row, but instead of on paper, they're little metal pegs that you read your line, you hit a button, it drops, next line comes up. So there are multiple ways to also read Braille.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, we have one down in the front. While I'm walking down, Tim, are there any other questions online?
Nope.
All right.
My question is, can most people tell the difference on the Braille reader? Because it just seems like it's sort of a mistake in the paper to me. You know, that they're not, I don't see the columns or feel the columns and,
It takes practice.
okay.
It does.
And you're saying that it can be learned.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay.
our Braille instructor who works in the building at the department, she reads 400 words a minute
Oh, my goodness.
in Braille.
Oh, my goodness.
She also, for people who have signed up for independent living services, which is where you work with a teacher coming to your home, our Braille instructor's name is Terry. She also has a support group that I think is bi-weekly that is done over the phone. So by joining those calls, you are talking with blind Iowans all across the state. So there's another method of support groups.
Okay, I find this truly amazing. Thank you.
It is. I'm not as fluent in it as I would like to be. It does take practice, but once you get the hang of it, it's you have to apply it every day.
All right, I think that is all the questions. Do you have any last before I close us out here?
We have family members that tell us all the time. We have family members, we have clients that will say to us, I wished I'd have known you were here 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when this started to happen to me, to my sister, to my father, to my mother. We no longer want to be the best kept secret in Iowa. So if you think there's somebody that could benefit from our services, tell them about us. You can, if you have a family member or a friend that you think would benefit from talking to us, you can refer them and we will reach out to them. But we serve all 99 counties and we want people to know we're out there. Thank you all very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Connie. Great information. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to move over here and we'll use this microphone instead. There we go. And thank you to your mom for coming today as well. Great to have you. And we'll add you to our rotation now of programs. Every couple of years, we'll make sure you come back and give a updated program for us. So our next program, we have one more this month. It's Thursday, April 27th. It is offered only in person. It is getting your ducks in line. And this is talking about documents and information you want to make sure in case something would happen to you, that your family would know where to get this information and have all the passwords and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to walk out with a document that will have all your information for you that you will work on. But we have it scheduled for 2 hours and it's in this room and there's some nice booklet and such that she is going to give to everyone. So, and then next month we kick off with a program Tuesday, May 2nd. 2 p.m. again in this program, in person or virtually. It's longevity, health, and happiness. And this is Dr. Peter Martin, who is the head of the gerontology department at Iowa State. Every couple of years, he comes and talks to us, and he has amazing information about resilience and living to an old age and remaining independent and lots of good information. So if you have not heard him, you really need to join us. He does an excellent job. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Thanks again, Connie, for coming today, and enjoy that beautiful weather out there.